Can you let me know if you can see and hear me okay? Can you leave a comment? I'm using a new program, a streaming program, and it's really fancy. It's a bit too fancy for my blood, but I would love to know if you can see or hear me. Also, let me know if any music is still playing. Shouldn't be, but happy to have you all here. I hope you all have something cozy to sip on. I've got my iced coffee, and I gotta say, drinking coffee from a mason jar, I can't explain why, but it just hits different. It's also massive. It's as big as my face, so it just makes it even better, right? Turn up mic a bit. Okay. Let's see. Is that any better? No music. Perfect. Thank you. How's the volume now? And let me go through, see who everyone is here. Rosie, hello. Show me an adventure. Hello. Hi, Kaylee. Thanks for coming in. From Indiana, Wisconsin, Missouri. All Midwesterners. I love it. Midwesterners unite. Oh, and if anybody sees Mr. Lister in the comments, that's my brother. He's sort of monitoring this whole debacle to make sure I don't screw it up. He's much better at this than I am. Okay, volume better. Perfect. Thank you. Well, hello. How is everyone? How has your week started out? I know it's a Monday, and Mondays can feel a little bit but I like to see Mondays as an opportunity to start a new adventure. Maybe that's romanticizing life a little bit too much, which I will admit I'm very good at romanticizing the mundane parts of life. But I would love to hear what you got up to this weekend. How's everyone doing? Let's see what did I get up to this weekend? It's so sad that I have to literally think back. I hung out with my friend Amanda today. We went traipsing around the town and just did a little bit of mooching, all window shopping. Both of us are very, very, very tight on our budgets right now. So it was actually kind of nice to go shopping with someone who I knew wasn't going to be buying a bunch of stuff, because it actually made me feel better to not buy a bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? What else did I do? I know there was a lot of things I wanted to get to and I didn't. Sometimes that happens. I wrote quite a bit on my new work in progress. I don't talk about book stuff very often on YouTube because it doesn't ever seem to perform well, which is such a shame. But I think I'm going to change that anyway and just talk about it because I want to. It's something I really love. But you all know or should know about my Chai project, which is my Gilmore Girl meets Hallmark, autumn theme, small town, slow burn romance with a plus size main character. The book I'm working on now is the sequel to that, and I've codenamed it my Sunshine Project, and it's going to be, what was the little elevator pitch I made up? A Pride and Prejudice meets Fool's Gold, tropical contemporary romance with a love triangle and treasure hunting. So if that interests anybody, that's what I've been up to, writing a little bit of that here and there as I have time. Rosie says that she thrifted a bit and made some soup. Ooh, what kind of soup? And what did you thrift? Any treasures? We've actually had some cooler weather right now. It got into the 40s this morning. We're at that really awkward part of the season where you have to wear one kind of outfit in the morning, and then by noon, you're shedding all of the layers you put on. Layers are key. I don't know if any of other Midwesterners have the same problem, or if Ohio is just unique in this awkward stage of the year. But I was wearing a sweatshirt this morning, and then immediately later in the day had to trade it for a sleeveless shirt. But that's okay. Gives me an opportunity to change my outfit and take more pictures, right? More outfits of the day. Show me an adventure. We had Wingfest in our small town that we went to. Had a great turnout, so that was nice to see folks showing local support. I love small town events. It reminds me of Gilmore Girls. We here in my town have tons of local events. We actually have one coming up this upcoming weekend called the Madewell Market, I think. And it's a bunch of artisans that come together and sell their wares, I think. I've never attended it before, but I love that kind of stuff. That's so cool. Wingfest. Oh, that was delicious. Kaylee says, we had kids game all weekend, and I could not figure out how to dress. Thank you, Kaylee. I'm so glad I'm not alone. It is a challenge. I feel like my closet is 10 times messier during this portion of the year. Because in the summer, I only have summer clothes and I rotate those. In the winter, obviously, you have warm layers and you rotate those. But right now, you're using both. I trade long jeans for shorts. And by the end of the day, it's crazy. And then I'm back into a sweatshirt to close out the day. But I do love the slightly chilly weather because I can turn on we have a fire pit outside. It's one of those, is it propane? Where it kind of, I'm losing my words. I'm just so excited you all are here. Basically, we have this really cool table and flames flicker across it. I think I showed it in my Instagram stories yesterday or the other day. That's what we did. We watched an outside movie with my family. Mama Joy's birthday was the other day. And I went shopping. I vlogged all of this, by the way, so you'll see some of it, bits and pieces. But we ended up, I shopped for her, got some cute things. And then at the end, we all bundled up outside because it was chilly at that point. And we watched the show called A Week Away. It's a series. I guess there was a movie. We didn't watch that. I've never seen that. But the series is still coming out. You can only watch the first 3 episodes, which is what we did. Guys, I need to talk to you about this show because it might be my new obsession. I know everybody and their brother is obsessed with The Summer I Turned Pretty. And I understand. I get the vibes, you know. I have my own thoughts about why I don't love the show, even if I like aspects of it, and I can get why people are so on board with it. But I feel like my experience with the show A Week Away is what my experience should have been with The Summer I Turned Pretty. I feel like the giddiness, the kicking your feet, toes, I don't know. It's so cute. Okay, I'm not explaining this well. It's like if High School Musical and Disney Channel had a baby with a sprinkle of Glee on top and faith-based material. That's the show. There's music, there's really talented casts, and I'm in love with it. We've only watched the first 3 episodes, but I want to watch the rest. And it's not ready to be watched yet. Rosie, you had lasagna soup. You can make soup out of lasagna? I guess that makes sense. The lasagna pasta part is like having pasta soup. Huh. I've never heard of that. Maybe I just live under a rock. That sounds delicious, though. False fall. Yeah, I know. This is, I don't know if I would consider this false fall yet, but we do have some really warm days coming up the end of this week. And I think I want to film some last summer hurrah stuff before it's completely gone and all of my shorts have to be put away in a bin under my bed. Fake fall when it's cold in the morning but hot in the afternoon. Is that what you call it, fake fall? I always thought fake fall was when it was chilly for a few consecutive days or weeks and then it would get hot all over again. No, that's called Indian summer. Yeah, that's called Indian summer. I'm getting my terms mixed up. Well, is there anything you'd like to chat about before we dive into our murder mystery? Do you have any questions about this, how it's going to work? I can explain that. I do have my Kindle ready. Did any of you get the book for yourself? If you didn't, that's okay. I'll try to do my best to turn the screen and show you the pictures, because this is one of those interactive kind of books where it shows you evidence, actual documents. It's very cool. I've never seen a book in this format before. But I thought with fall approaching, it would just be fun to do a little murder mystery together. I love murder mysteries. I love whodunits. Obviously, you probably gleaned that from me loving Murder, She Wrote. Okay, so rundown on the plan. If you have the book, or if you have it near you, grab it now. But what we're going to do, this is sort of a test. I would like this to be a consistent thing we do every Monday or almost every Monday. If we don't love the format and you guys aren't really interested, that's totally fine. We can pivot. But here's my thinking. We're going to go through this book called Murder in the Family. Let me actually open my Kindle and tell you the author's name. I think it's Cara Hunter, if I'm correct. Can I minimize? Thank you. Library. Murder in the Family. Cara Hunter, I was right. Okay. So let me back up. I did start reading this and then I stopped because I wanted to include all of you. Basically, the premise of this book is there's a fictional TV show that wants to solve a cold case that has been a mystery, unsolved, for I think close to a decade. They have evidence gathered from past people who have worked on the case. They have a list of people who worked on the case. They also have family members, friends, suspects, witnesses that they're going to interview for the show. I'm trying to give you an example. So like here, it actually, it's mirrored for me, so I'm trying to, there we go. It actually shows you evidence like this. So this is the retired senior police officer, and it gives you all of his credentials like a real crime. It's so cool. And I thought, since all of us may not have the book, I would read it out loud as best I can. And we can discuss. We can, if any of you have questions or suspicions or anything, we can chat about it. That's kind of my plan. Very loosey-goosey. There are really very few rules here, other than having a cozy drink next to you or a snack, that works too, and seeing if we are as smart as the investigators in this book. What do we think? Does that sound like fun? I'm trying to see if there is the back of the book kind of description, but I don't see one. The one thing I will say, if you use a Kindle, you can see one of the cool tricks of this. You can see what other people have highlighted in your document when you're reading. So anytime someone highlights it and I can see that this many people have highlighted this passage, I think, oh, that must be important. Let me highlight that too. Okay, you don't have the book. That's totally fine. I will do my best to read everything to you. I'll show you the picture first and then I'll read. And if you want to screenshot any of this as you go, so you can kind of have it with you to read or follow along, then feel free to do that. Sounds fun. Love a good mystery. Good. I'm glad. Okay, so let's start here. Here's the cover page. We start with a newspaper article from the Times, the 8th of November, 2023. Looks like this. If anybody, I don't know if that's going to focus. There we go. If anybody needs or wants to screenshot that, they can. But I will read it. And then there was one. Christie-worthy final twist gives Infamous a killer climax. By Ross Leslie. The latest series of Infamous bowed out yesterday with a last gasp twist that didn't just bring the house down, but the whole theater with it. It's been the standout hit of showrunners' autumn season, never out of the streamer's top 10 shows since the first episode aired on 3rd of October, and generating the sort of water cooler debates those of us who remember a terrestrial-only world look back on with wistful nostalgia. As I said back when it first launched, it must have taken guts to hold out for a gradual episode drop rather than cave to the prevailing box binge culture, but boy, it paid off. Not least because it allowed real-life off-screen events to be incorporated into last night's double-episode series finale. This season's format was a first for the Infamous franchise, and I suspect for many of the viewers, but however innovative it might have felt, the closing sequence of last night's final episode proved that what we'd been watching all these weeks was, in fact, a very modern reprise of the time-honored "and then there were none" scenario. First created by Agatha Christie and reinvented by every new generation of crime novelists ever since, most notably by the late, great P.D. James, but also, more recently, by the likes of Lucy Foley and Sarah Pierce. A small group of strangers, cut off from the outside world, who begin to turn on one another in the face of the horrifying realization that there is a killer among them hiding in plain sight. For so it proved last night. And no, of course, I'm not going to tell you who. Let's just say I won't be the only member of the audience who's promptly rewatching the entire series to see how I could possibly have missed it. Now, I do want to pause here and read you the synopsis of the book. I think it will give you a little bit more clarity on what this article's talking about, that kind of thing. Ross looks guilty. You know, he looks a little questionable. I'm not gonna lie, Rosie. You might be onto something. Write that down in your list of potential clues. Okay, let me pull this up. If I can find a free web browser. Can any of you raise of hands? How many of you have a bajillion tabs open at all times? Because it's a point of shame for me, but a necessary point of shame on my phone and on my computer. Okay, Murder in the Family. I can spell. By Cara Hunter. Synopsis. All right, let's see. A shocking thriller about a cold case, a fictional true crime series, and the family caught in the middle. 6 episodes, 1 killer. It was a case that gripped the nation. In December 2003, Luke Ryder, the stepfather of acclaimed filmmaker Guy Howard, then age 10, was found dead in the garden of their suburban family home. Luke Ryder's murder has never been solved. Everyone present around the time of the murder swears they saw nothing. Of course they did. Despite a high-profile police investigation and endless media attention, no suspect was ever charged. But some murder cases are simply too big to forget. Now comes the sensational new Netflix series Infamous. I love that they use Netflix. Dedicated to investigating and perhaps cracking this famous cold case. The production team will re-examine testimony, re-interview witnesses, and once again scour the evidence. The family will speak, the key players will be reunited on camera. The truth will come out. Are you ready to see it? Does that sound amazing or what? Yay, I'm so glad. AC, I'm so glad. You have too many tabs open. I'm so sorry that you are afflicted by this same the same illness, but listen, you need all the tabs. I had to close so many for this streaming thing to work because I was lagging so badly in my, prep. I've been prepping this for like 2 hours just to double check, triple check, quadruple check everything was going to work. And some tabs needed to be closed. Okay, so for anybody who is a note taker, I think we should probably write down the victim, Luke Ryder, Ryder. He was killed on December 2003. He's also the stepfather of Guy Howard, who is now, in his adult age, a filmmaker. He was found dead in the garden of their suburban family home. That's basically all we know at this point. And if someone else wants to take notes for me, that would be great. I can't take notes and read to you at the same time. Okay, so that's the... what does it say what the date is? Oh, 2023. This article came out 10 years later, 10 years after the murder. And then I switched to the next page and it says 10 months earlier. Okay. I'll just read out loud. There's nothing interesting here. I heard Curtis likes taking notes. It's actually Curtis with a C, but I don't know if he's really watching. I think he was just checking to make sure that everything didn't implode. But I doubt he's really listening. Otherwise, I would have him up here taking notes too. Alas, it's just us girls. We're gonna have to fend for ourselves. Okay, showrunner, January 9th, 2023, 10 months earlier from the article we just read. New season of Infamous sees British filmmaker revisiting his stepfather's murder, unsolved for 20 years. Filming on location in London, Who Killed Luke Ryder will include never-before-seen home footage, interviews with family members, and exclusive access to the crime scene. Infamous Who Killed Luke Ryder, set to debut Tuesday, October 3rd, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern on Showrunner. I love that they use actual names of things that we know, like Showrunner and Netflix. Also, if this is taking place in London, I may have to pull out my accents, as cringy as they are. If I do a very bad job at them, you all can tell me, Cassie, stop. Please, please have mercy on our ears. Just read normally. In season 7 of the global hit Infamous, apparently that's the name of the show, filmmaker Guy Howard, the kid, will take viewers through the case that traumatized him as a child and has haunted his family for 2 decades. Oh, you're right. 20 years, not 10. I'm really good at math, guys. Super good. Definitely why I totally didn't fail math classes in the past. In October, this is a part that someone else highlighted. 401 people have highlighted this little sentence. In October 2003, when Howard was 10, his stepfather, Luke Ryder, was found dead in the garden of the family home in an upscale district of London. Despite a lengthy and high-profile investigation by British law enforcement, no charges were ever brought, and the case remains unsolved. In a new format for the Infamous franchise, producer Nick Vincent of Dry Riser Films has brought together key players in the original case, along with acknowledged experts in the field of crime scene investigation, forensic psychology, police investigation, and the law, to revisit the crime and attempt to identify the perpetrator, who still remains at large. Participants include... Okay. Curtis, be quiet. Girls only over here. He just commented, please read normally. Your vote doesn't count, sir. Okay, so I'm going to let you have a chance to screen. Let me cover my face and have it focus. This is so hard because I'm mirrored. This is going to be really out of focus, isn't it? Well, I'll do my best, and you guys can screenshot it if you want to. These are our participants. Alan Canning, Detective Inspector, Metropolitan Police, retired. Mitchell Clark, journalist, covered the case for the London Press in 2003. Hugo Fraser, KC, leading UK criminal prosecutor. Dr. Layla Furness, forensic psychologist. J.J. Norton, crime scene investigator, South Wales Police. Oh, I can't do a Wales accent. That's not happening. I can't do that one. William R. Serafini, detective, NYPD, retired. If anybody is smarter than me, which most of you probably are, I'm confused. I read this part before. I'm confused as to how an NYPD detective from the States had anything to do with a crime that took place in London. Isn't there a jurisdiction thing? I haven't read enough to have that explained, but that was the only thing that made me pause. Like, wait a minute, this took place in the UK. How is someone from the Americas involved at all? After months in development, the 7-part series will follow the work of this team as they re-examine original testimony, re-interview witnesses, and interrogate the 2003 evidence in the light of subsequent developments in forensic science. They will also interview family members who have never before spoken on camera about the events of that night. Would not be usual. Yeah, I didn't think so either. Unless someone, maybe Luke Ryder is from America. It doesn't say so, but that could be. That's the only thing I could think of that they might bring in someone from America. But yeah, it might be a clue. Keep that in mind. Showrunner head of Factual, Garrett Holbeck, said, should I do an accent, guys? This would be the perfect opportunity. Let me know really quick in a comment. Should I do an English accent or not? Curtis, keep your opinions to yourself. I'll just read it in an English accent for now. And then you guys can tell me in the comments. I'll look at the comments in a minute. Oh, now I got so nervous. Okay. We're all excited about the pace and tension this new format brings to the show, but my hope is that we will not only offer viewers a first-hand insight into this important case, but perhaps find something long overdue closure for the family. The first episode of Infamous, Who Killed Luke Ryder, is set to air on the 20th anniversary of the murder, Tuesday, October 3rd, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern, on Showrunner. Subsequent episodes will appear in installments. Go for it, Governor! Yes, Kate, thank you! Funny. Oh, goodness, I'm glad you all approve. Thank you. Good, I know, Curtis! He's like, yes, immortalize your bad accents on the internet forever. Listen, sir, my accents are actually pretty good. I'm not saying they're perfect. I may not be doing a very good job right now because I'm nervous, but when I'm not nervous and just at my leisure, I feel like I'm pretty convincing, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm open to being wrong. Infamous is an award-winning series produced by Dry Riser Films for Showrunner TV Inc., which first aired in 2014. An acknowledged leader in the field of true crime, Infamous has previously covered notorious and unsolved crimes such as the death of JonBenet Ramsey. Oh, pause. JonBenet Ramsey, my grandpa, actually worked on that case. He wasn't an official person who worked on the case. His friends were actively investigating it, and they called him in for a second opinion. And I probably shouldn't share some of the things he shared with me. Some of the things he shared with me, he probably shouldn't have shared with me at the age I was. But one thing he did tell me is that he was confident the parents did not do it. I'll leave it at that. The disappearance of Lauren Spirer, the murder of Peter Falconio in Australia in 2001, and the Camilla Rowan Chameleon Girl case in the UK. I wonder if all of these are real. The series is renowned for its incisive reporting, in-depth analysis, and exclusive access to those closest to the crime. Nick Vincent's Dry Riser Films is an innovative and leading-edge creator of entertainment and documentary programming. And it leads a bunch of previous projects. I kind of want to skip those. I don't think we care. Guy Howard studied film and media studios at the University of Thanet in the UK and has worked on a number of British TV projects. This is his first major feature. Okay. So it even has media inquiries. Let me hide my face. You can literally email them, I bet. And it would probably say something. Oh, can someone email this email and just see if you get a response, like an automated response? It's Xanthe, Xanthe, at dryriserfilms.com. Does someone want to be brave and email them just to see? Further information about participants is given below. Interviews and or backgrounders can be arranged with any of the participants on request. Please contact Xanthe Malthouse for details. Professional resumes of participants to follow. Okay, so here's... Oh, this is Alan. This is the one I showed you before. The retired senior police officer. If anybody wants to screenshot that for evidence, they can. Retired senior police officer. Experience, Metropolitan Police Service, MPS. Wait, say the email again? Okay. Can I... Here, I'll just type it in the comments. That's probably a lot easier. Xanthe dryriserfilms.com. Let me make sure my spelling's right. Xanthe at dryriserfilms.com. Yep. Okay. There's that. Alan Canning, retired senior police officer. Metropolitan Police Service, MPS, Detective Inspector, MPS Brent, 2009 to 2022. handling of major crimes and serious incidents in the London Bureau of Brent, planning and allocation of police resources on an incident-by-incident basis, implementation of MPS policies and standards, liaison with council officers and community groups. He was a detective sergeant, MPS, for Hayes and Harlington in 2001 to 2009. He was a uniformed sergeant, MPS South Croydon, in 1995 to 2001. He was a detective constable, MPS Brixton Hill, 1990 to 1995. Uniformed constable, MPS South Croydon, 1984 to 1995. Education includes police training college, Hendon, 1984, Carlisle Road Secondary School, Croydon, 1972 to 1984. 6 O-levels, 5 CSEs. O-levels. All I can think of is Harry Potter and the owls, like the O-levels. Personal, date of birth, 5th of May, 1967, marital status, married, children, none. Hobbies include golf, reading, and travel. Mitchell Clark, freelance journalist. I think this is going down the list of the people that we read. Here's, there we go. Let me hide my face. You can screenshot that if you'd like. Read along. Freelance journalist, who I am. I was born in Ladbroke Grove in 1982 and I've never left. My father was Jamaican, my mother from Grenada, both of them proud members of the Windrush generation. The values they taught me have shaped who I am and what I'm loyal to. My race, my class, my friends, my values, I tell the truth like it is, in black and occasionally white. What I do. News, hard-hitting, fearless reporting, whoever and whatever I'm covering. Features, well-researched, in-depth, and compelling stories born of a long and deep association with my neighborhood and my community. My work has appeared in the local and national press for 30 years, from the West London Evening News to the Daily Mirror, and The Voice to the News Statesman. I forgot about this. I did read this previously. The Lawyer Hot 100 2022. This lawyer apparently made the Lawyer Hot 100. Let me show you. Doesn't he just look full of himself and smarmy? Look at him. Look, I don't know. Maybe I'm prejudging. He's very nice to look at. But doesn't he look like the kind of self-absorbed, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Cocky, that kind of vibe? Undeliverable email. No, I was hoping there might be a little Easter egg. Oh well, thanks for trying. I appreciate it. Now we know. We can all sleep well tonight. Hugo Fraser, KC. Appearing in this list for an I'm sorry. I was trying to do like a news anchor kind of voice. Appearing in this list for an unprecedented 4th time. This guy has been nominated for Hot Lawyers the 4 times in a row. Oh my word. Fraser continues to impress as one of the most charismatic and sought-after silks at the bar, a shoo-in candidate to lead his chambers the next time that slot becomes vacant. Considered by many to be one of the leading KCs of his generation, Fraser never shies away from demanding and high-profile cases, and excels at presenting fiendishly complex evidence in an effective and telling manner. Known not just for his Eton education, but his taste in expensive suits. Fraser is gutsy, creative, and unashamedly clever. Small wonder he stands head and shoulders above his peers. Did he write this himself? I feel like he might have written this himself. Like, gutsy, creative, and unashamedly clever. Who writes that? Okay, well, we've got a beat on him. Oops, let me close this. Go away. Layla Furness, forensic and clinical psychologist. I'll leave that up for anybody who wants to screenshot. I wonder if they paid people to have their picture taken and put in the book, or if it was a free stock image situation. These are the things I think about. Profile academic qualifications. Diploma of Forensic Psychology, British Psychological Society, 2009. Doctorate in Clinical Psychology, 2002. MSc Research Methods in Psychology, 1999. Experience. I've previously worked for HM Prison Service in both secure adult units and young offenders institutions, and as part of the NHS clinical teams in London, Liverpool, and Derbyshire, dealing with issues such as drug and alcohol dependency, personality disorders, and child sexual abuse. Ooh, I should probably not say that out loud, just in case YouTube is like, what are you talking about? Selected publications. Disassociation in criminal forensic psychology. Yeah, it just lists a bunch of papers that she has written. And then this one made me laugh out loud when I saw it. This guy, I'm feeling like he stayed in his basement and used a really old graphics design program from the, early 2000s. Yes, we need some female energy in the mix. She sounds very experienced. I trust her. I was going to say, I don't know. She looks like she's seen some stuff, don't you think? Like, she worked at a prison service. She worked in a prison for secure adult units and young offenders. I could never. I'm not built for that. I had enough heartache watching kids in the daycare system not be loved like they should. I couldn't do. Oh, it takes a special person to do prison stuff. Okay, so this is J.J. Norton. He's the forensic investigator. And I feel like he stayed in his basement and created this graphic himself. What do we think? I feel like that's something he would do. This says, Curriculum Vitae. My name is J.J. Norton, and I'm a forensic investigator. I've worked in this field for over 20 years. I took a BCS in forensic science at the University of Birmingham, followed by an MSc at the University of Huddersfield. I've worked for Greater Manchester Police, Gloucestershire's Constabulary, and am currently with South Wales Police. My skill sets include DNA analysis, blood spatter analysis, forensics, ballistics, fire scene investigations, toxicology, digital forensics, forensic anthropology, and entomology. That's quite a rap sheet. Need to know. I was once a blue-gloved hand in an episode of Silent Witness. He was a hand model in Silent Witness. I have attended 378 autopsies, including one of a man killed by a falling grand plane, 3 people struck by lightning, and 1 half eaten by a killer whale. Oh, the things you have seen, sir. I flirted with the idea of becoming a priest before settling for forensics. I'm sorry. How does one go from wanting to be a priest to forensics? I feel like those are just polar opposite worlds. Why are we only seeing JJ's side profile pic? Sus. I mean, he worked on the team to solve the investigation. He probably was ruled out as a suspect, I would assume. They probably have a very detailed and deep vetting system. I'm a member of Mensa. I don't know what that is. I once had a pet tarantula. Of course you did. Of course you did. And I'm a black belt in Taekwondo. Okay, respect. I never watch true crime TV. Listen, I totally can understand that. My grandpa, I think he told my dad this, and I must have overheard it, but he despised crime shows because he got so annoyed that the guilty party gave up and admitted that they were guilty every time and super quickly. He's like, that does not really happen. That never happens that quickly. But to be fair, in a TV show, you have to wrap everything up in 30 minutes. So it makes sense that most of the victims just give it up and are like, yeah, I did it. But I can understand if you work in that arena, how annoying and unrealistic it probably is to watch. William R. Serafini Jr., Investigation Services. Here's his profile. He looks like the kind of person, I'm totally making this up, but he looks like the kind of person who you'd see him at a little diner that hasn't changed since the 50s, and everybody knows his name, and they know his order by heart. Everything you could want in a PI. Oh, he's a private investigator. Oh, that definitely cements my initial thought of him being at a little diner. Proud to have been one of New York's finest. Okay, this is the guy from New York. He's a PI. Okay, that makes sense why he was pulled into a London investigation. He's a PI. It's different. Probably the same rules don't apply as an American police officer. I want to do like a New York accent. I did 30 years as a Manhattan detective with the NYPD. In that time, I investigated in excess of 350 homicides, 250 X crimes, and countless thefts, home invasions, arsons, drug crimes, and street muggings. I've attended thousands of crime scenes and dealt with almost as many offenders. I've been commended for bravery 6 times, shot 3 times, once near fatally, and married twice, once also nearly fatally. I've worked alongside the FBI, the Met in London, and Europol. Add all that up, and there's very little I don't know about crime scene investigation, criminal profiling, victimology, or investigative procedure. And if I don't know myself, I'll definitely know a guy who does. Why hire me? Because I'm not a quitter. I'll get the job done even if I die trying. Well, perhaps not quite that, but you get my meaning. Skills: honesty, integrity, candor, persistence, good judgment, initiative, courage, discretion. End of press release. Kickoff email from Nick Vincent, the 31st of March, 2023. Are we going to need one of those boards with all the strings? Kaylee, we might. We might have to put one, where am I? Backwards. Yeah, we might have to put one like right here so we can see. That's not a bad idea. If y'all want to do that, oh my word, go ahead. Go nuts. We might have to. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. Importance: high. This was dated Friday the 31st from Nick Vincent to Guy Howard, Hugo Fraser, Alan Canning, Mitch Clark, Layla Furness, Bill Serafini, and JJ Norton. All of the people we just read about. CC'd on the email is Tarek Osman, Fabio Barry, Dry Riser production team. The subject line is infamous. Who killed Luke Ryder? Shooting schedule. So he's probably English, right? Nick Vincent? I would assume. Actually, it doesn't say if the show is from the UK or from America. I'll just read it normally. Great to finally meet you all in person last week. It's always useful to get a sense of each other before filming, though, as I said, we'll play the opening EP with introductions so we can give viewers your backgrounds without making it too much of an info dump. Unlike the press, the audience won't have seen your resumes. Feel free to question each other at that stage, experience, expertise, etc., as your interactions, both positive and negative, will be a key part of the ongoing on-screen dynamic. It's also a good way to make sure the viewers understand the differences between UK and US criminal and legal procedure. As I explained, the first EP will require some rehashing of information you clearly already know to get the audience up to speed, but thereafter it will be much more free-flowing. The research team are still working on certain specific elements of the investigation which we deliberately aren't going to brief any of you about. It's crucial this doesn't look rehearsed. We want you to look genuinely surprised if, as we hope, we get significant new evidence along the way. And of course, this is very much an active investigation. We may end up somewhere very different from even what we currently envisage. We've had to tweak a few logistical things for next week, so I've attached an updated schedule. Any questions, just ping me or Tarek in an email or WhatsApp. See you Monday, Nick. Ooh, we get our first text message conversation between witnesses, I guess. You want to see? I have to hide my face every time or else it doesn't focus. Is that focused for you? Come on, straighten up. There. Hopefully that's not blurry. Okay, text messages between Amelie and Moira. Maura. M-A-U-R-A. Mara. Amelie and Mara Howard. So they must be related. The 1st of April, 2023, 9:56 p.m. Y'all got that? 1st of April, 2023, 9:56 p.m. Is he really going through with this? Looks like it. Look, I don't know how you feel, but it's a big deal for him. He may never get a chance at being as big as this again. So he says. You don't have to do it, Am. Okay, so Amelie is the first one talking, asking, is he really going through with this? And Mara is I'm envisioning kind of sassy. Is he really going through with this? Looks like it. Look, I know how you feel about it, but it's a big deal for him. He may never get a chance as big as this again. So he says, you don't have to do it, Am. In fact, I really don't think you should. I don't think any of us should do it. Mum would hate it. Yeah, well, she's not exactly going to notice, is she? That's not the point, and you know it. Guy's going to do it, whatever, so there's no point in us two arguing. Okay, just keep me posted, okay? If they find anything? How likely is that? You never know with those, she doesn't say people, crashing in about in other people's lives, not caring how much damage they do. Look, I've got it, okay? Trust me. I won't let anything bad happen. Promise? Promise. Ooh, do they know something? Is this about the show? It's 2023, so they probably are talking about the show bringing everything up again and digging through all of their personal stuff. They don't sound happy about it. So let's see. Guy's going to do it, whatever, so there's no point in us two arguing. Guy, I wonder if that's a name or just like saying the guy is going to do it. It sounds like they know him. Like if she's saying it's a big deal for him, it sounds like they know him well enough to have an opinion on it. Okay, interesting. Voicemail left for Peter Lascelles, 2nd of April, 2023, 10:03 a.m. I wish I could tap the screen and make it focus. There we go. Peter, it's Alan Canning. Oh, wait, who was Alan Canning? Was he the guy that Rosie said I suspect him? Let me go back. This is the problem with not having a physical book. Yeah, it's this guy. Alan Canning, retired senior police officer. This is the problem with not having a physical book because I can't just flip back and forth. Peter, it's Alan Canning. Long time no speak, as they say. Oh, he's English. Sorry. Peter, it's Alan Canning. Long time no speak, as they say. You might have picked up that I'm going to be involved in this new showrunner series rehashing the Luke Ryder case. Would you be free for a quick chat this weekend? I think it might be useful. And not just for me. Talk soon. Interesting. Episode 1. Okay, this is where I left off. I don't think I read much past this myself, so we're entering new territory. Have we been talking for almost an hour? Whoa. Okay, let's at least try to finish chapter 1. I don't even know if this is organized in chapters. I guess we'll see. Episode 1. Filming. There's an image. It really does look kind of like a call sheet, doesn't it? That's so cool. Title sequence. Art house style black and white montage of images and short clips. This is literally like planning a YouTube video. You're planning all the B-roll clips and what you're going to say. And, you know, I don't really script my videos, but I know some people do. Interesting. Black and white montage of images and short clips. Crime scene. Contemporary news coverage. Family photos. Theme song. It's Alright Ma, I'm Only Bleeding by Bob Dylan from the soundtrack to Easy Rider 1969. Title over. Fade in. Who killed Luke Ryder? Fade out. Black frame. Text appears with voiceover narrator, female. On the evening of Friday, October 3rd, 2003, police were called to an affluent address in West London. The caller was a child who was in so much distress the first responders weren't sure what to expect. Did he find the... Oh, that makes me so sad. He was 10 and he probably found the body. Oh, so that... An accident, domestic violence, maybe a burglary. What they found was a body. Someone highlighted this. Okay. In the garden, at the bottom of a flight of steps, the face and head brutally beaten. Okay, that was highlighted. As well as the date. Police were called to an affluent address in West London, Friday, October 3rd. There was no one else in the home, just 2 traumatized teenage girls and their little brother asleep upstairs. I wonder if the teenage girls are, what was it? Mara and Amelie? How much you guys want to bet? Fade out. Cut to guy in sitting room at Dorney Place. I have to run. Good luck, super sleuths. This was fun. Bye, Rosie. Thanks for hanging out. I'm so glad you were able to start this mystery with us. I'm excited to keep doing this if you guys want to. I'll read just a little bit more and then we'll wrap up. Fade out. Cut to guy in sitting room at Dorney Place. French windows, slightly old-fashioned furniture, view of garden beyond. Guy is slightly built with arresting light blue eyes and longish dark blonde hair. He has a single earring, a silver wrist chain, and a heavy aviator-style watch with a chrome strap. He's wearing a white shirt and jeans. Nick Vincent, producer. And you were that little boy. Guy Howard. Oh, Guy Howard. So Guy's gonna do what he's gonna do. Yeah, so it is a name. Okay. Maybe I'm just really slow. Guy Howard. Yes, I was. Nick Vincent, producer. And the girls were your sisters? Guy Howard nods. Mara was 15. Amelie was 13. And I was 10. Oh, Mara was 15. Amelie was 13. And I was 10. It was Mara who called 999. Nick Vincent, producer. She found the body? Guy Howard. Yes. Nick Vincent. And who was it? Guy Howard. Luke Ryder. My stepfather. Cut to montage of contemporary newspaper headlines under Vox Pops, news broadcasts / clips as follows. News item 1. More than 2 weeks after the body of 26-year-old Luke Ryder was found savagely beaten in the garden of his wife's house in Camden Hill, the Metropolitan Police seemed no closer to finding out who did it. People highlighted this next part. Mrs. Ryder was at a party that night, and the only other person in the house was her 10-year-old son. It was only when her daughters returned from the cinema at around 10:30 that the horrific discovery was made. Guy was alone. Okay, I'm going to try to highlight this. I still don't have there it goes. Okay. Yep, I've highlighted it. I'm literally just highlighting what everybody else is highlighting. Nothing new under the sun here. But I think if I want to, there's a way for me to go to everything I've highlighted on my Kindle, and then we'll have all of the clues lined up. But who was it? Who said Kaylee? I think it was Kaylee who said that we needed a board with strings. The more we're reading, the more I'm like, Kaylee, that might not be a bad idea. Okay, I've highlighted all of those bits. Voice 1, woman on the street. It's been absolutely ghastly. Ghastly! I have friends who are still afraid to go out on their own, never mind at night. A crime like that, it just doesn't happen round here. Voice 2, man on phone-in. Of course it was the wife. Who else could it have been? Who else even had a motive? And as for getting into that house without anyone noticing, no chance. If you ask me, he was playing away, and she caught him at it. Wouldn't be the first time now, would it? Ooh. Was he a bit of a scamp? News item 2. As if a brutal and apparently senseless killing weren't enough, the Metropolitan Police are now coming under fire from campaigners who say that Caroline Ryder is being unfairly targeted because she's an older woman in a relationship with a much younger man. Interesting. The tea. Okay. Detective Inspector Police Lascelles, who is leading the investigation, says yesterday that whenever a murder takes place in a domestic context, our first priority is always to question those closest to the victim and eliminate them from our inquiries, and that is what we are doing now. Voice 3, friend of Caroline. I've known Caroline Ryder for 10 years, and she would never do something like this. She just doesn't have it in her. And despite what the papers are insinuating, she and Luke were very happy. I know because I saw them together only a few days before he died, and there was absolutely no tension at all. I mean, people can pretend. And as for the idea that she would kill Luke and leave her own children to find the body, well, anyone who knew her would tell you it's just inconceivable. Tell me what movie that word is from. Inconceivable. Comment it. What movie? I will respect you forever if you know it. Absolutely inconceivable. News item 3. It's come to be known as the Cougar killing, though, and more on a decade on, there is still no evidence to suggest that Caroline Ryder murdered her much younger husband, and she's certainly never been charged, nor indeed has anyone else. Cut to interior as before. Guy. Nick Vincent, producer. So now it's 2023, and it's been nearly 20 years since all this happened. Why are you revisiting it now? Guy Howard. Because I want to know the truth. Because that's what I do as a filmmaker. And because my family has lived with this thing hanging over our heads for almost 2 decades, and until someone finds out who did it and puts him away, none of us will ever have any peace. Nick Vincent, producer. I believe your mother is also unwell? Guy Howard nods. She's been diagnosed with early onset dementia. She's only 60. This case, Luke's murder, it's destroyed the whole family, but my mother most of all. Okay, people... Yes! Inconceivable Princess Bride! Yes, ma'am! Yes. I'm so proud of you. Good job. So people underlined the mom having dementia. She's 60. That's young to have dementia. That's really young. But if you've got a lot on your mind, like a murder, that would definitely chip away at your sanity. Interesting. I wonder, because she has dementia, if she knows more, then they're able to get out of her at this point. Maybe she knows things. Puts him away? Is it a male then, or just a way he refers to people? He said put him away. Yep, he did. Whoever did it and puts him away, none of us will ever have any peace. It may have just been a generic way to say, them. Typically, with violent killings, it's a guy. I'm pretty sure that's what's the word? Not percentage, but it's more common. So maybe it was just his way of saying it, but interesting. Nick Vincent, producer. So this film, you want to vindicate her. Is that why you're doing it? Guy Howard. I want to find the truth. Pause. Whatever that truth turns out to be. I wonder if he might suspect it's someone he knows, someone he's close to. And that's why he added that. Montage. Shots of the Camden Hill area. 4-story brick and stucco frontages with railings along the pavement. Tall windows with wrought iron balconies, trees, wisteria. Oh, wisteria, so pretty. Expensive cars parked in the street, mothers pushing buggies, dogs. Voiceover narrator. And the search for the truth starts here. It's probably the most expensive part of London you've never heard of. This isn't Mayfair, or Belgravia, or South Kensington. It isn't even Chelsea. It's Camden Hill, London, W8. The smash hit 90s film starring Hugh Grant and Julia Roberts catapulted neighboring Notting Hill to international fame, but Camden Hill and its excellent leafy surroundings still remained largely anonymous, much to the relief of its super rich and super private residents. These days, $10 million will barely buy you an apartment in W8, and one of these Victorian villas could easily hit double that. But this house is in a league of its own. Cut to drone footage over Dorney Place, showing the size of the plot and extent of the garden. I wonder if we'll get a map. When Dorney Place was built, way back in the 1760s, this area wasn't even part of London. In fact, it was barely even part of a village. There was an old Jacobean mansion, Camden House, which gave its name to the area before going up in smoke in 1862, and a scatter of smaller buildings around it, but that was about it. Voiceover continues over image of old Camden House, followed by camera panning over 1810 map of London, showing Kensington and Knightsbridge as villages. We do get a map! Look at that! Statistic, thank you. That's the word I was looking for. All right, we've got ourselves a map. Not that it does me any good because I am directionally challenged, but hopefully you guys are better at that than me. If you walked up Camden Hill back then, you'd be surrounded by green fields, and the chimneys and steeples of London would be just a distant blur. Image of Dorney Place in the early 1900s. Dorney Place didn't start out with that name. It didn't even start out as one house. Sometime in the mid-1850s, two adjoining cottages were knocked together into one much larger house, and the new owners started developing it, adding new wings, an orangery, and a stable block, and by the end of the century it had become a very desirable gentleman's residence. Montage, sequence of Victorian-era photographs of the house, people in summer clothes, having tea, playing tennis, exterior shots of front elevation, courtyard, various interior shots, including drawing room, entrance hall, and morning room. What is a morning room? This sounds so fancy. And all this at a time when, as the London we know now, the London of railway stations and shopping streets, was just starting to emerge. By 1900, the green fields around Dorney Place had long since disappeared. Roads had replaced the lanes, and shiny new terraces had surrounded the garden on all sides, so much so that you couldn't even see the house from the street. And the same is still true today. Camera tracks up the street to the Dorney Place entrance, then zooms in. NB, no security camera is visible. There's this discreet gateway into Larbert Road, but even when the gates are open, you can't see more than a few yards down the drive. There's no name, just the number 2, and an entry keypad. If you didn't know the house was there, you'd almost certainly miss it. An orangery is a greenhouse. Ooh, okay. Thank you, Kaylee. I was picturing a grove of orange trees. I'm not going to lie to you. And I just felt like that might not be right. Let's see. With so much housing springing up around it in the late 1800s, it's some sort of miracle that Dorney Place survived at all. Even back then, developers would have been knocking the door down, always assuming they could find it. And you can imagine what a site this size would be worth today. But survive it did, and by the First World War, ownership had passed to the Howard family. Camera pans round to Guy, standing by the entrance. Guy Howard. My family. Cut to the montage of home videos of showing Guy as a child, on a swing, with a puppy, playing with other children in a paddling pool. Various adults are visible in the background, including Caroline and Andrew Howard. I'm envisioning VHS tapes from my childhood. Voiceover, Guy Howard. I was born in Dorney Place. So were my older sisters. It was a fabulous place to grow up. The house was a bit of a rabbit warren inside, at least upstairs. Loads of staircases and passageways and attics and odd corners where the house had been extended over the years. For a kid like me, it seemed like an enchanted castle. There was even a basement we pretended was a dungeon, though it was actually Dad's wine cellar. In the summer, when the trees were out, you couldn't even see any other houses, so it was like we had a secret garden where you could almost forget you were in London at all. The grounds were so big, my sisters even had a pony. Okay, it was just one of those little Shetland things, but it was still a pony. In London. All their friends would come round and take turns riding it. Made them super popular at school, I can tell you. Images of the Howards' wedding, with text below, Andrew and Caroline Howard. Then various family portraits with the children as babies, toddlers, in school uniform, and as a family. My parents married in 1987, and it was Dad's second marriage. He was 39. Mum was 24. Cut to Howard family tree. Okay, here's the family tree. Is that going to show up? Maybe. I wish I could tap it and make it focus. There we go. I just needed to be a little farther away. Screenshot if you want to. Mara was born... Let me actually look at this before I continue reading because I need to know. Amanda Granger and Andrew Howard had Rupert Howard. Caroline Farrow married Andrew Howard. Is that right? Okay, so... Oh, so Mara, Amelie, and Guy have a stepbrother. Is that right? Yeah. Andrew Howard married Amanda Granger first, had Rupert Howard. Then he married Caroline Farrow and had Mara, Amelie, and Guy. Okay. Interesting. Mara was born a year... Oh. English accent. Oops. Mara was born a year or so after they married. Amelie in 1990 and me in 1993. We had an older half-brother too, though he was at school most of the time. Eton. I remember my parents entertaining a lot. There were always people in the house in the evenings. We'd get sent upstairs. The girls used to sneak out sometimes to look, but I just found it all completely boring. Reconstruction. 2 small girls looking through banisters at a group of adults drinking in a large hall below. Caroline, animated and laughing at one end of the room. Andrew, reserved and silent, at the other. The following day, the place would stink of smoke. There'd be a stack of empty bottles by the bins, and Mum would have a headache. I don't know if she actually enjoyed all that hostessing. Most of the people who came weren't what you'd call friends. They didn't really have any friends, at least not any joint friends. Dad would play golf with men who never got invited in, and Mum would go out during the day and tell us she was seeing her ladies who lunched. We never saw them at the house either. The people who came for the dinner parties were business contacts of Dad's. Bankers, lawyers, finance people. He was something in the city. At least that's what Mum used to say whenever it came up. I had no idea what that meant, of course. It was years before I discovered what he was really doing. All I knew... Oh, what was he really doing? All I knew as a child was that he was hardly ever home, except on weekends, and not always then. What a sad childhood. But when he was around, he was always prepared to make time for us. Aww. Though I obviously didn't think about it in those terms then. I just remember him playing with me. That kind of breaks my heart a little bit. Clip of Guy playing cricket with his father in the Dorney Place garden. Guy bowls to his father, and Andrew deliberately skies the ball so Guy can easily catch it. Guy runs around cheering, and Andrew sweeps him up and gives him a hug. Caroline and the girls are watching. The girls on a rug and Caroline in a garden chair. Caroline is wearing a large hat that shades her face and has a glass in her hand. She looks distracted. That's the summer of 1999. The Millennium Dome had just been opened, Bill Clinton's impeachment trial had failed, and there was a war in Kosovo. But that's not how I know it was 1999. It's because we didn't have another summer, not as a family. But by that Christmas, Dad was dead. Reconstruction. Black and white footage of small boy sitting on a sofa as adults swirled about him. POV is such that only the bottom half of the adults are visible. Low lighting so the figures cast long shadows. It was like an asteroid hit, completely out of the blue. Years later, Mum told me he'd been ill for a while, but no one had ever said anything to us at the time. It actually happened when he'd taken me to Holland Park, one weekend, just the two of us. He had a massive heart attack, and that was it. At least that's what they told me later. To be honest, I don't remember anything about it. I mean, I must have seen it, but I have no memory of it. But I do remember everyone kept asking me if I was okay. Wait, so he was there? He was there for the death of his father. And he was also there for the death of his stepfather? And he conveniently has no memory of it. He must have been very small, though. I totally understand that trauma can make you forget things. That's actually happened to me. I was bullied a lot in school. And it's funny because I think my brain has just tried to protect me from remembering, so it kind of blocks out a lot of the details. They're just fuzzy. I know it happened. I know bullying happened, but I don't have specific details I could pull up for you. But my mom, my mom remembers everything, remembers everyone who has wronged me. And she'll bring up stuff, and I'm like, did that actually happen? I don't remember that. And I genuinely don't. So I know that hard things in life, especially when you're young, can get muddled because your brain is trying to process it, protect yourself, keep it from happening again, keep you from having to relive it. But it does make me kind of go, I don't want to suspect a kid, that feels all sorts of wrong, but he doesn't remember. And we all know, if you've watched crime shows, that heart attacks aren't always really heart attacks. They can be caused by other things, unnatural things. Just putting that out there. Anyway, after he died, the house filled up with people. His sister and her kids, who we hardly ever saw. Men in suits we'd never seen at all. And Rupert, our half-brother. That's the first real memory I have of him. Cut to Mara Howard, sitting room at Dorney Place. She's 35 now, slender, well-groomed, in a shabby chic sort of way. She's wearing a pale turquoise shirt, long silver earrings, and a matching pendant. She has the confident manner of her class, but seems fragile all the same. There are dark circles under her eyes, and she fidgets with her necklace as she speaks. Mara Howard. Rupert would have been 19 then, still at school, technically, but only because he was doing Oxbridge. Guy Howard. For our American viewers, that's sitting the entrance exams for Oxford and Cambridge, so staying on an extra term. Mara. Right. Anyway, he was still out of our league and patronizing the butt off of us, for no other reason than because he could. Not that I realized that at the time, I just thought he was sophisticated. Mum only ever used that word about people she approved of. Laughs, but maybe it was just the tie. I do remember envying Roop that he was going to a university and not having to live at home and get told what to do all the time. He'd passed that magic line that separates kids from grown-ups. Takes a breath. And of course, he was a pallbearer for Dad. Son and heir and all that. Looks directly at Guy, then turns away. Ooh. Cut to Guy. Same room, different angle. Guy Howard. No one really explained to us about the funeral. I remember there was a huge row the day before between Mum and Dad's sister, Alice. I found out later that Alice didn't think we should go, that we were too young, and looking back, she was right. The girls were 11 and 9, but I was only 6. Old enough to know something really bad had happened, but way too young to process it properly. All those people in black, that weird car they took him away in, the hole in the ground, it was like one of my kids' books come to life. The Hobbit or something, but not in a good way. I don't remember Rupert talking to me much. I didn't expect him to. I might have been miserable and lost and confused, but I was just a kid. I didn't matter. Why would he bother with me? It was only years later that I realized he knew exactly what I was going through, because it had happened to him. He was the same age as me when his mother died. And that happened out of the blue too, just like Dad. And yet he never talked to me about it. I was his brother, but he never sat me down and asked if I was okay, never even gave me a hug. Looks down. Cut to Mara. Things went pretty bad after that. The house emptied until there was only us and Mum. She'd have meetings with some of the suits, and she still went out to her lunches, but there were no more parties. She smoked a lot, had more of her headaches. The staff looked after us. The housekeeper, I can't remember her name, she left soon after. And the woman who came to clean and do the laundry. Mum hated doing that, so she always got someone in. Beatrice, that was her name. We liked her. I guess she spoiled us a bit. Especially Guy. And then, of course, there was Roop. One way or another, we started seeing a lot of Roop. Cut to montage. Rupert Howard as a child, at Dorney Place with his parents, at Eton as a young man at Cambridge. Voiceover narrator. Rupert Howard was born in 1980, Andrew's only child, with his first wife Amanda. He was barely 6 when his mother died in a car crash. There were rumours she'd been drinking, but the official verdict was an accident caused by icy roads. Why did I immediately think of Hagrid saying, car crash? A car crash killed Lily and James Potter? That's a scandal. That's all I can think of. Also, update me in the comments. How y'all doing? Are you liking this so far? Are you bored out of your mind? Do you want me to keep going? We're hitting the hour-and-a-half mark. So I want to check in and see how everyone's doing. I'll keep reading a little bit, let you guys respond. Let me know if you want me to keep going for a little while longer. It doesn't look like this has any sort of chapter stopping point, so we may just have to pick one. But yeah, let me know in the comments. Are you guys enjoying this still? Or are you bored? Would you like me to stop? Let's see. Oh, people underlined this part. Caroline had been the Howards' au pair, and there was quite a scandal when Andrew Howard married her within weeks of his wife's death. Okay. Caroline. Oh, no, go away. Caroline was the au pair? Remind me what an au pair is. That's like a nanny, right? That's like a French nanny. Kaylee, I'm enjoying it. I have no suspects yet. I think we're just getting the overview at this point. I don't have any suspects either. Whoa, he married her weeks after his wife's death? Wow. Ooh. Okay. Interesting. The plot thickens. Okay. Here's a news... Oh, gotta cover my face. A news report. Like a little... Not a news report. A newspaper clipping. From Au Pair to Millionaire by Janet Arden for the Daily Mail. For the daughter of a builder brought up in Hull, Caroline Farrow is certainly constructing a very desirable life for herself in one of London's most elite postcodes. After scarcely 2 years working as a live-in childminder to millionaire city supremo Andrew Howard, 39, the 24-year-old is set to upgrade to lady of the house. The wedding is set for this summer, a source tells me. They are very mindful of appearances, naturally, given what a short time it's been since Amanda died. I don't love that. Not loving, what's his name, Andrew? Andrew, sir, you are suspicious. And he died of a heart attack? Sorry, I didn't mean to hit the table. And he died of a heart attack? What if she did that and wanted all the money for herself? The wife. Caroline. Oh, no, wait. She was gone. She wasn't there, was she? Remind me. Do you guys remember? Did Caroline have a headache when the stepdad died, or was she gone? I think she was gone. Voiceover narrator. Many people, perhaps unsurprisingly, concluded that Andrew must have been having an affair with Caroline long before Amanda died, something he always denied. It is interesting that his ex-wife died unexpectedly, like he did, and then marry within weeks. I know. It all feels very, yeah, a lot of deaths happening in one family feels kind of suspicious. I wish I had another word for suspicious. I don't trust it. Let's put it that way. I don't trust it. And of course, he always denied having an affair with Caroline long before Amanda died. We ain't dumb. We know better. Some even suggested that the car accident may not have been an accident at all. Not that they said so in public, of course. That's not how things are done in London W8. Whatever the truth of it, the newlyweds had only been married a few months when rumours began to circulate that all was not well at Dorney Place. Caroline told her friends that Rupert, the stepson, was acting out and sullen. And while Andrew seemed to have made every effort to smooth things over, Rupert started spending more and more time with his mother's side of the family. And when he turned 13, he was packed off to Eton and only made occasional visits home in the holidays. So he was sent to... Listen, he loses his dad, he gains a stepfather, and then he's shipped off to boarding school? He's not given any time to process any of this. No wonder he's acting out and acting broody. I would be brooding and grouchy too. Yeah, that seems really sad. I don't like that. I feel bad for him. Cut to Rupert Howard in a city office. I'm wondering if we'll get an interview with Rupert at some point. He's wearing a suit and glasses and a bright orange and red MCC tie. He looks very like his father. Oh, we do. Rupert Howard. If you're asking me if I liked her, then no. Of course I didn't like her. I hated her. I was very close to my mother, and I resented Caroline as fiercely and irrationally as any 6-year-old in that situation would. Did she deserve it? Probably not. But I never warmed to her, and I never trusted her. And the older I got, the more convinced I became that I was right not to. Cut to Guy watching footage of Rupert's last comments on a laptop. He smiles dryly. Guy Howard. It doesn't surprise me that he said that. He's always made it pretty obvious what he thinks. Shrugs. I guess I might feel that way too, if I was in his position. Nick Vincent, producer. How are things between you two these days? Guy Howard. We don't see much of each other. He wants to stand for Parliament at the next election, so he spends all his time out in the wilds of Shropshire schmoozing the local Tories. But to answer your question, we get on. We agree to disagree, mainly by avoiding the elephant traps. Like anything to do with the F word. F as in family. Nick Vincent, producer. Is that why you decided not to interview him on camera yourself? Why you wanted someone else to do that? Guy Howard shifts in his chair. This film is about getting to the truth, and that means some aspects of it are better done by other people, not me. Nick Vincent, producer. But given that you said just now about the family being an elephant trap, some people might be surprised that Rupert agreed to take part in this at all. Guy Howard. You'd have to ask him, but I suspect he'd tell you that he has nothing to hide. Cut to Rupert. Smiles and spreads his hands. Me? I have nothing to hide. Nothing whatsoever. I wasn't even in London the day Luke died. And before you ask, I don't feel guilty about Caroline. Pause. Luke, though, that's another matter. I do feel guilty about Luke. You could say the whole thing was all my fault. Ooh. Cut to crime scene photo. The face blurred out. The body is sprawled on its back on a flight of steps. There are cracks in some of the slabs, and a spade and several other workmen's tools visible at the top left. It's obviously been raining, but there's still a large bloodstain around the head. Wait a minute, who are we talking about? Luke. Luke, the guy who got, yeah, the stepdad. Okay, so this happened in the garden on a flight of steps. There are cracks in some of the slabs, a spade and several other workmen's tools. I mean, he could have gotten taken out by a garden tool, like a shovel or something. Especially if the face is blurred out. That's probably where the injuries got. Yeah, that's probably where he got injured. Oh, bloodstain around the head. Yeah, that makes sense. Narrator. Luke Ryder had been married to Caroline Howard for just over a year when he died. Only a year? Only a year, you guys. That smells like a money grab. Don't you think? Okay. I have thoughts, but I'll keep them to myself for now. He was 26. Oh, he was a baby! He was 26 and a native of Calgary, Western Australia. The only paid work he'd ever done, that we know of, was as a barman, first in Sydney and then in Greece. The odds of someone like him even crossing paths with Caroline Howard were vanishingly small, and yet he did, and 2 years later he was dead. No one has ever been charged with the killing of Luke Ryder. The case that gripped the public, baffled the police, and changed the lives of these 3 young stepchildren forever remains unsolved. But with the 20th anniversary of the murder now approaching, and with so many recent advances in DNA and forensics, perhaps it's time to take another look. Perhaps it's time to bring Luke Ryder's killer to justice, and give the Howard family some closure. Cut to dining room at Dorney Place. Okay, wait, let me pause. If he was 26, and he only worked as a barman, okay, I take back the money grab thing, because he didn't have any money for Caroline, is that right? To benefit from. Now, this is totally spitballing with no evidence to back it up. Maybe he was trying to money grab, and she found out that he married her for her money. She could have been upset. She was, I think, out of the house, wasn't she? So that's, I don't know how airtight her alibi is. We haven't gotten there yet. Where was I? Oh, cut to dining room at Dorney Place. The team are seated around the table, along with Nick and Guy. Nick is unshaven, with shoulder-length hair, dark hair going gray. He's wearing a blue cotton shirt and has various beaded and plastic bracelets on his left wrist. Guy is in a black t-shirt. There are papers and photos on the table, glasses of water, a cafetiere of coffee, laptops. There's also a whiteboard and pinboard propped on easels. The latter has some of the images we've already seen: exterior of the house, entrance gate, family tree, etc. Close up as camera pans over the pictures, finishing with a series of shots of the family. Nick Vincent, producer, looking around the room, looking around at those seated at the table. And that's where you guys come in. If we're going to solve this case, we need an A-team. And that's what we've got. I don't think there's any aspect of the criminal justice system we don't have covered round this table. There are smiles, some muted laughter. And as you can see, we're here at Dorney Place, where the murder took place. It's the first time anyone but the police or the family has had access to the house, which will give us a unique opportunity to walk the scene and maybe, after all this time, work out what actually happened that night. Gesturing at the cafetiere. The coffee's better than the studio, too. Better than at the studio, too. More laughter. And amazingly enough, this is actually the first time we've all met together in the same room. So we're going to do that cringe-making thing everyone does and go around the table introducing ourselves. Perhaps you can start. Alan? In the next sequence, camera moves to each team member as they speak, name and title appearing on screen. First close-up is on Alan. He's in a dark jacket and tie, glasses, and a slightly creased white shirt. He has short, salt and pepper hair and a thin face. He talks in a rather staccato way and seems ill at ease. As he speaks, there are video-only clips of news items from some of his cases, with Alan speaking to the camera, being questioned by the press, etc. Alan Canning. This is the one, I think, Kaylee, you were suspicious of? And by the staccato description, he sounds educated. Like Hermione Granger has a staccato accent. Very prim and proper. It's very enunciated, all of the T's, all that. That sounds very educated. I'm Alan Canning, a retired detective inspector from the Metropolitan Police, specializing in homicide. I have over 30 years' experience in criminal investigations, and I was working at the Met when this case occurred, though I never worked on that team. Camera moves to Hugo. He's in his early 50s, but doesn't look it. He's wearing a suit with wide pinstripes, a pink shirt, and a spotted navy and white tie. There's a red silk moire lining visible inside of his suit jacket. He's smooth, confident, perhaps a little superior. Isn't Hugo the lawyer? Yeah, I think that's who he is. I'm trying to think of like the most smarmy, I know I'm hot kind of voice. What would that sound like? You know what I'm thinking of? That guy from the first season of Bridgerton. What was his name? Anthony? No, that was the brother. Simon, that's it. Simon from Bridgerton. That's who I'm picturing. I'm Hugo Fraser, KC, which, for those outside of the UK, stands for King's Counsel. It basically means I'm a senior member of the criminal bar in England and Wales, and I've been both defending and prosecuting offenders of all varieties since 1997. Camera moves to Mitchell. He's in his 40s, with a shaven head, glasses, and a short beard, which is going grey. He's in a denim shirt with a patterned silk scarf. Mitchell Clark. My name is Mitchell Clark, and I'm a journalist. I've contributed articles to the national and London press for nearly 20 years. Nick Vincent, producer. Though that's not quite the whole story, is it? Mitchell picks up a pen and starts playing with it. No, I was also the first reporter on the scene on the night of the Ryder murder. In fact, I was there even before the police. Interesting. Guy Howard. And how that came to be the case is something we're going to look into in a lot more detail as we get into the investigation. Layla. Camera moves to Layla. She's in her late 40s with olive skin, impeccable but understated makeup, a short gray hair. She's wearing a green satin blouse, a silk scarf, and a clutch of gold bracelets. She clearly takes a lot of care over her appearance. Layla Furness. I'm Layla Furness, and I'm a forensic psychologist. I've worked alongside the Met and at various UK prisons, including Broadmoor. My specialty is serial killers. Guy Howard. To be clear, there's never been any suggestion that Luke was the victim of a serial killer. Layla Furness nods. You're right, there hasn't. But as the police officers among us will know, you have to assess all potential theories of a crime before you focus on one single line of inquiry. Bill Serafini. Who was Bill? I'm blanking on who Bill was. I'd agree with that. Camera moves to Bill. He's a big man in every respect. Imposing physically and with considerable presence. Is that the PI? He has a genial demeanor, but he's clearly not someone you'd want to cross. His suit is a little too small for him. He has a stars and stripes pin in his lapel. Bill Serafini. Yep, that's it. I said in the New York accent. My name is Bill Serafini, and I'm a retired NYPD detective. No, that's not the PI, is he? We'll keep going. Montage of old photos of Bill. In uniform, receiving a medal, in plain clothes with a badge. He's listing a lot of things that will probably get me, YouTube won't like me saying out loud, so we're gonna skip that. Basically, the stuff he's investigated are really heavy, not fun things. Not personally, of course. I had 30 plus years on the force, and now I work as a private eye. Private investigator, as you British folks would say. Anything else you want to know, feel free to ask. Okay, I was right. I'm trying to keep all these characters straight so I can get their accents correct. Nick Vincent, producer. Thank you, Bill. And finally, JJ. Camera moves to JJ Norton. He's the one who had a tarantula for a pet. And the profile picture, that was sus. He's in his 40s with short dark hair and glasses. He's wearing a black shirt with ornate silver tips on the collar points. There's a tattoo on the inside of his left forearm. It looks like a barcode, but it's actually his DNA profile. He has a stainless steel water bottle in front of him. JJ Norton. I'm going to give him a really geeky voice, not because I think he's probably really a geek. That's what I'm getting as far as like his job. So I'm not trying to judge at all. I'm just trying to make this a different accent than all the others. I'm JJ Norton, and no, I'm not going to tell you what JJ stands for. And for the boring stuff, I dig about at crime scenes for South Wales Police, which I've been doing for the last 5 years. Before that, basically more of the same. Guy Howard, addressing the team. You all know why this case is so important to me, but this is the point where it stops being my case and starts being yours. I'm making this film, but I'm not directing it. Where this story goes next is down to you, and where your investigation takes you, whatever place that proves to be. From now on, the only time I'll be in front of that camera, he points, is as a witness. If there's some other very good reason. And the same goes for Nick, too. It's your gig now. Camera pans round the team, and by the time it pans out again, Guy and Nick have gone. Guys, it's down to us. Bill Serafini looks around the table. So, are we going to get started? People shift in their chairs, reach for their papers. There are only one or two glances between them. Evidently, Bill has made an assumption of authority. In my experience, it's always best to start a cold case review with a summary of the facts. Alan Canning. I'm happy to do that. Bill Serafini, interrupting. With respect, Alan, I think at this stage we need a fresh pair of eyes. Your input is going to be invaluable, clearly, given your knowledge of Met procedures, but right now we need a clean slate, no preconceptions. So, how about you, JJ? This case hinges on the forensics, after all. JJ Norton, Riley. Don't they always, but happy to oblige. Pulls his papers toward him. Okay, so what do we know? We know that Luke Ryder was married to Caroline Howard, that they hadn't known each other very long, and the marriage had been, shall we say, controversial, not the least in her own family. We know that Luke was alone in the house the night he died, babysitting Guy. Caroline was at a party, and the two girls were at the cinema in Notting Hill Gate. We know that it was raining heavily by the time the police got there, but there were still some dry patches of paving under the body, suggesting the rain started after he fell. Okay, that feels really important. I'm going to highlight that whole paragraph. That basically summarized everything we've read so far. I could have skipped all that and just read that paragraph. Let me skip ahead just to see how far we go. Whoa, okay, so there are no chapter endings. None. This feels like a good point to stop. We've been going for about 2 hours now, so I think we're going to call it for now. Looks like they're just going to get into the nitty-gritty details of the case. We've gotten the intro, the pre-film, if you will. And this is starting to really take off into the investigation portion. What do we think? so far? Do we like this story? Are we intrigued? Do we want to keep reading and find out next Monday and see if we can discover this? I literally might try to track down a bulletin board and see if I can make a little string connective case board. And then we can add to it or move things around. You guys can help me organize the board while we're live. What do we think? Oh, it got hot in here. My goodness. I'm also wearing a sweatshirt, so that's adding to the heat. But on a different note, this is from the Joy Club. Have you guys looked at the Autumn Essentials collection yet at the Joy Club? It's officially launched, if you didn't know, and everything's live. We've got fleece line crew necks, which is why I'm so hot right now, because this is so warm. We've got t-shirts, button pins, tote bags, koozies, glass tumblers, steel tumblers. Yeah, and I think we even have some new items on there too. I say it like I didn't actually have anything to do with the collection. I know we have new items on there. And everything is size inclusive, from XS to 4XL or 5XL. In case any of you were wanting some fall things to add to your wardrobe or your home. I'm loving the samples I bought myself like this. I've been living in all of my crew neck sweatshirts during the chilly mornings and the chilly evenings. We discussed this at noon. I have to shed all my layers. Anyway, this has been so much fun. I think some people have dropped off, which is totally fine. This has gone on for 2 hours, but if you want to watch it back, you're more than welcome. And I will save this video so that you can review the evidence if you want. Even if you're watching this after the fact, if you didn't get a chance to watch this live, feel free to comment and let me know if you're intrigued, if you liked this. This is fun to me. I really enjoy doing this kind of thing, especially with an interactive audience, because we sort of get to pick each other's brains and share our opinions and who we're thinking might be suspicious and worth investigating further. I love this. So much more fun to do with other people than to do alone, which is why I suggested it. So let me know in a comment. Would you like to keep doing this? And we could potentially do every other Monday, or we could do every Monday. I would love to do every Monday. And we could even call it Murder Mystery Mondays. I think that would be fun. Just a good girl gang time solving a murder. Let me know what you think. I have had fun. Thank you so much for watching. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to chat to you about before I dropped off. I don't think so. Yes, there was one thing. Since we did a live today, I'm not going to upload a vlog today. What I'll do is I'll upload it on Wednesday. That's what I'm aiming for. And we can follow that format. We'll do a live on Monday and we'll do a vlog on Wednesday. If you guys are still open to doing this murder mystery thing, which I hope you are, because this is so much fun. I will try to track down a board and get all of the suspects on the table, and we can investigate this further. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I love doing lives. They're so much fun. I don't do them enough. And I will see you on Wednesday for a vlog. Thanks so much for watching, loves. Happy you could join, and I will see you in the next one. Love you guys. Mwah. Bye.